Did you have anything to do with the actual lineup of the show, or was or were the matches just given and then it was create a moment?
So the matches were given when well, you know, when you
I do, but I still gotta ask because the people want to know.
When you and I signed on to do that, the matches were formed. Now, of course, you and I went back and forth with Conrad on how we're going to execute. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like you and I really helped a lot was. Yeah. We kind of, and really some behind the scenes stuff is we kind of wrote a script like WWE writes a script and formatted it and ordered the show and talked about what match should go where and went back and forth on a lot of that. So yeah, our fingerprints were definitely on the format and the order of the show. But the matches were already made. Now look, having said that, we talked about another one possibly, and I say possibly because anything's possible. We talked about another one, and the same will apply. We'll work together. We'll knock this out, and you can tell I forgot what we were talking about.
In this past year or two, so much talk of forbidden doors, cross-promotional matchups, and this show really took that to the next level, both in terms of matches, but also the show production. Have you ever seen or been involved with the show that had so many different companies coming together for a common cause?
No, never. And I don't think anybody else has either. I mean, and look, we were in contact with all these companies and talking about finishes and we literally went through the show piece by piece, and all of these companies worked together, and they worked together really well. And so it was almost like it was fate, and it was meant to be. Because like I said earlier, on the pre-show, look, we had two matches go very short under the time they were allotted. And so we are literally jumping through hoops on the pre-show to get to that 7 o'clock hour Central. And Josh Matthews, Dave Zahadi, team, awesome. All of them worked, and we jumped through hoops and got there. Then when the actual show started, it was seamless, man. And it was seamless, and it was people who don't normally work together, working together and producing that show. Look, people talk about, and Dom mentioned it earlier, people critique me for what I do and how I do it or whatever. I get it. You can have your opinion, but you have no idea. And I mean zero idea what goes into making, writing, producing, executing a television wrestling show. Now, look, I'll grant it, 50 of y'all listening have done it before. Maybe. 20 of you have done it at the level we did it at Sunday night. And man, did we do a great job. It was a full team effort. I give everybody credit where it's due, man, because the whole weekend was a team effort. But that show coming off without a hitch was a deadgum miracle.
Let's just break this down. A WWE executive in the main event with AEW talent and a two-time WWE Hall of Famer with an AEW commentator on play-by-play, an Impact production team on lights, cams, and screens, international representation from New Japan, AAA, and DDT Pro, a GCW invasion. This was groundbreaking professional wrestling done at its best, and it's something that we can feel proud of forever.
And I will be. And I honestly believe this. If you have a problem with that show, it's because you have a problem.
It just seems to be the overall vibe of the world, that everyone loves to vent everything they dislike and then neglect what they like. So all of a sudden attention is only on the negative. Instead of tons of positivity and a sprinkle of negativity, we're getting the reverse. We hear all the worst and then sprinkle in some positivity. And we always talk about the numbers in wrestling and the ratings and how do you get the people back. And I think overall as a fan base, so for the listeners, the watchers, the viewers, those that are enjoying the products they watch, if we speak more positively about pro wrestling, those on the outside that want to look look at the product will feel okay about getting into it instead of feeling bad about themselves because everyone thinks it's so terrible.
You get into a Twitter thread on a wrestling show night and you will not like wrestling ever again. And that's just the way it is. Everybody knows everything and you're stupid and you don't know anything. And look, I do think it's a bigger issue than wrestling fans. You said it. There's too much negativity.
It's comic books, it's movies, it's everyone thinks they could write a better finish to the blockbuster.
And I'll tell you why they think that. Because when I prop myself up and knock you down, if I'm not really being honest with myself, that makes me feel good about myself. Everyone is so self-absorbed but not self-aware, and so I think we need to be kind to one another and we need to treat each other with respect, no matter whether there's an R or a D or a L or a G or a BTQ plus, you know what I mean? Like, we should all respect one another and treat each other with that kind of respect. And man, it has gone by the wayside, especially on the IWC Twitter.
All right, we're going to get to the actual show and night of festivities, but for now, let's keep talking about putting this show together. What does it take to make a format and plan this? So we talked about, we had meetings, calls. I mean, I think at first we thought maybe it was going to be a call or two and write some stuff on paper, and this became a very, very elaborate process.
Yeah, yes, it did. And look, it had to, because if it hadn't, it wouldn't have come off like it had. And you know, I don't know. We talked about the production meeting and whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I did. I don't think I did that much. But what I did was corral and try to motivate and everybody get on the same sheet of music and then move forward. And man, that's what we did. But yeah, I thought it was going to be easy when I took the gig. It turned into a little bit more of a task. But you know what? I've gotten out of a habit of writing a show. So I forgot putting a show together is a task. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. We didn't dig a ditch. We didn't, lay any pipe. Blue chew. But we did, you know what I mean? We did work some hours and some overtime hours. But look, I'm thankful we did it because the hard work paid off. You know what I mean? And I think it was a huge success. And we both got paid.
When thinking about match order, what are some of the things that you consider? How do you want to open the show? What goes into the placement of where matches go?
Well, so look, we opened the way we did because we thought the Wolves and the Guns could, the Motor City Machine Guns and the American Wolves were kind of a indie. Excuse me, I'm gonna throw up on camera. We're kind of an indie dream match, and I think they delivered. You know what I mean? There were times where we thought the Von Erichs were not going to make it, and so they were delayed, and they slept in the airport Saturday night, and they flew from Hawaii to Nashville on Sunday, and arrived at about 5:00. And made it there. So my point saying all that is thank you to the Von Erichs for their commitment to showing up and doing that. And I can guarantee you'll probably see them on the next one as well. But I'm just saying these guys did it. And had they not shown up, we were going to put the Briscoes in a triple threat with to open the show with the Wolves and the Machine Guns, and man, that would have been awesome. But I love that the Von Erichs showed up. The Briscoes and them had a great match. So appreciative of, like I said, their commitment. But yeah, it goes into we want to start off hot. We want to start with something to get the wrestling fans' attention and maybe give them what they want. You know what I mean? Start them off with a babyface win or something like that, and make them happy and make them get them started. It's the pace car, man. It's the pace car for NASCAR. They go around that lap a couple times and it gets you warmed up. You know what I mean? So if you ain't first, you're last. That to me always resonated because I think both of those positions on a card are very important. Look, and then if you're going to be honest, we get political, and I talked about. I wanted the women to semi-main this thing because I thought it was the right positioning. It was for a title. It was for the women's knockout title, and I thought it was the right thing to do. We tried to get another women's match on the show, and the one woman we were in talks with, it all fell through. So we had the one woman's match. I wanted to place it properly where I thought it should be placed. I got daughters. I know what's going on. You know what I mean? So So that's where that goes. And then, of course, Rick's going to be the main event. Now, the other stuff, it just goes to, okay, let's separate the two fatal four-ways. Even though they were executed differently with different stipulations, we separate those a little bit. And so that the ordering and the putting the show together, that part is the easy part. Then the part is going back and putting together the connective tissue, if you will, of the television show. Where do the packages go? Who goes here? Where? And I mean, every little thing you see on TV, you and I and Conrad talked about and sent out and got feedback, and it came back, and we, you know what I mean? It was just, yeah, look at the card. Put that back up there. Look at the card. I mean, every match was incredible. That AAA match, holy mackerel!
Yeah, like we'll get into each match specifically for sure. But holy cow is right.
I won't get into that just yet.
There were some mega spots and moments that were just had all of us in back popping and
I was screaming. I was screaming for doctors. I didn't know.
You talked about the in-between content between matches. There was so much great video content created, both in the lead up to the show and also on the show itself. How important was the hype and promotion to making this event a success?
Well, look, for one thing, you say, hey, it's Ric Flair's last match, and you got a lot of people's attention. But for another, you do in the last month what Conrad's team of content collectors and creators, and Jeff and Rick and Karen and Jay Lethal, all the content they put out, from them training together to the attack in the parking lot to all the social media stuff, to Jeff and Conrad going at it on Jeff's podcast. Like what a real emotional toll this kind of took. You know what I mean? Like Jeff went into another place for this, and he had to, and I don't know how he knew he had to. That's what gets me about Jeff Jarrett, is I might have gone there too, but I don't know why. And I'd love to know how Jeff knew this is what I got to bring. This chaotic, frenetic energy that is scary yet enticing, and I have to watch and see if he's going to kill this dude, you know? And of course, the dirtiest player in the game hit him with the nizucks.